What is the red pill? The red pill has been many things, originally confirmed by the director of The Matrix, Lily Wachowski, who popularized it in The Matrix. The concept of the red pill in the film is a metaphor for choosing to see the truth about the world, even if it's harsh or difficult to accept. She later claimed it's an allegory for the transgender.
I'm glad that people are talking about the movies, the Matrix movies, with a trans narrative. I love that how meaningful those films are to trans people in the way. I'm glad that it has gotten out that that was the original intention. But
So, to say so, there is no one true definition of red pilling. But there is a certain type of person, predominantly men, who shaped it into an ideology on how to live life. Specifically about the real truth of society, this mainly revolves around masculinity, conspiracy theories, making money, and women. The red pill is not the only word that this movement goes with. It can in many cultures be subsided with the word manosphere. If you've not heard of these things, you might be surprised how popular this movement is, with communities been built upon its ideologies. Initially, the red pill movement was to fight against liberal movements, or in modern terms, woke agendas, but has become some with the very thing it was condemning, with men complaining about life all the time.
Over the past couple years, the online community, or a small portion of it, by the way, the same small portion who also seems to be obsessed with a lot of the chauvinistic tendencies, a lot of the groundswell that we're seeing in that community is aligned with that red pill, blue pill community. My question is just for me personally, and the reason I say I don't care is because I'm not in a rush to red pill myself. A lot of this community right now is growing, and the streamers and Tate and all these people and Trump and all these people are growing to fight against this liberal agenda. And I'm not saying that that's a problem. I'm not saying that we need to push back on woke and that we need to get a little bit more moderate, right? But woke very much was a bunch of screaming, crying, annoying people. Whiny bitches, both men and women. And now, without even knowing it, it has spawned a conservative group of whiny fucking bitches sitting at a fucking desk complaining about, shut up.
How weird is that?
Slapped, get in the kitchen, masculine men, women have too much rights, shouldn't drive.
Wow.
Shut the fuck up.
But the question is, how did this movement get to this point? Well, it boils down to one man.
I think of a man, if you put happiness if you move it down the scale, right? And you start looking at, am I successful? Am I competent? Am I achieving things? Am I respected?
Before we delve in deeper, let's take a look at who Andrew Tate is and how we got to this point. So, Andrew Tate is a former professional kickboxer, winning multiple world championships before retiring. After retiring from kickboxing, Tate transitioned into entrepreneurship and became an e-celeb and one of the most influential figures in the manosphere, promoting his ideology on money-making, masculinity, relationships, and women. Tate is arguably the most well-known of the red pill thought leaders. Almost everyone in Gen Z has stumbled upon a YouTube or TikTok clip of him at some point. Andrew Tate truly went viral on the internet after posting a tweet on why depression isn't real, which caused a lot of controversy.
I'm saying the idea of depression as something you cannot control is a dangerous idea and paradigm. The reason so many people are committing suicide is because the Matrix is telling you that if you feel depressed, you cannot fix it. They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely.
Now, I do need to say that Andrew Tate himself said he isn't red pill and he finds the whole concept and most of the people involved in cringe. However, his reluctance to directly claim the red pill term doesn't change the reality. His views and talking points are almost identical to the whole space, and his popularity is what has accelerated the movement. To the point, even without Andrew Tate or any other manosphere figurehead, this was an inevitability in modern society. The world was already heading into this direction. Andrew Tate or any other manosphere figure was never the cause. They just accelerated it. So the question is, why does it exist, and why should you care? Why Andrew Tate, why the Red Pill, why the Manosphere, Sneeko, why the Red Pill godfather Rollo Tomasi, podcasts like Fresh and Fit, is because it should exist. You might be like, why? Let me explain. It's supply and demand. With the rise of male loneliness epidemic, it's no wonder men, especially young men, seek solace in these figures. This is a real epidemic that is going to claim more lives than any contagious disease, and it's eroding the very foundation of modern society. For the record, this problem does not just envelop men, but it is more prevalent statistically for multitude of reasons. Statistics show that about 15% of men now report having no close friends at all, which is 5 times higher than in 1990. Back then, 55% of men said they had at least 6 close friends, but by 2021, that number dropped to just 27%. Many young men today are remaining virgins longer than in previous generations, and they are self-deleting at an alarmingly high rate, with numbers trending upwards greater than ever before. They are also less likely to seek mental health assistance, more likely to turn to drugs or substance abuse to cope with these factors, which doesn't even factor into the self-deleting statistics, and overall are becoming disenfranchised with the world, or more specifically, their place within it. This manosphere figures didn't just appear for no reason. They arrived at the right time with the right message. To be clear, this isn't meant as praise or anything as such, as each of the people I listed, as well as the majority of the manosphere space, is a counterintuitive detriment to young men's lives. This movement didn't create the loneliness epidemic among men. It was already a pervasive issue, like a cancer eating away at society. The manosphere presented itself as a cure for the cancer, bringing with it total destruction of the body without the added benefits of potentially eradicating the cancer. It's not to say that there isn't some good advice to be found from these individuals, or that a reasonable person couldn't learn a few genuine truths from these spaces, like the importance of eating well, exercising, socializing, and improving your financial situation. However, these are basic truths that almost anyone could offer without the added baggage that comes with the grift of these male self-help gurus. And to answer the question, who cares? The truth is, on social media, nobody really cares about the suffering of young men, especially since it's cool to be inclusive and empathetic to everyone except those perceived to hold power as a group. But here's the reality. Most average men have little to no power over their own lives, let alone in society. This matters because it reflects something larger within our society. And it's not just about society, this likely affects men in your own life. Whether it's your brothers, fathers, sons, cousins, friends, or old acquaintances, many are struggling with these issues. The rise of the Red Pill, as well as the growing incel movement, hatred of women, conspiracy theories, and all the host of issues exist because these problems are widespread and deeply rooted in our society. To understand why young men in particular believe in the nonsense these so-called gurus preach, we need to recognize that they're lost. With social media redefining masculinity and promoting unrealistic standards of success, wealth, and physical appearance, it's no wonder young men are being taken advantage of. I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard to improve your wealth and appearance, but influencers, TV shows, and movies are just making young men more insecure about their lives. And with face-to-face communication replaced with superficial online interactions on social media platforms and dating sites, making it even worse. It's no wonder young men feel lonely and alienated from the real world, resulting in their struggles to form meaningful relationships. That what the manosphere figures like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit podcast, and most manosphere figures prey on. These grifters offer them a lifeline, claiming they can save them. It creates a cult-like following where young men blindly listen. These self-proclaimed gurus are making them believe all these crazy wild things, which they blindly accept.
The reason so many people are committing suicide is because the Matrix is telling you that if you feel depressed, you cannot fix it. They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely.
Today, we live in a world where people are being extracted for their value, their physical value,
whether you're digging holes or carrying garbage or whatever. And your mind is constantly distracted by garbage. It's distracted by TV shows and concerts and clown world. I call it clown world because it's a never-ending circus. All this garbage they distract you with. First it's COVID, and then Putin cures COVID the day he invades and COVID's cured. And it's all just a big scam from head to toe.
Why? Because the manosphere figures are often the only ones who seem to speak to these young men with compassion. And the truth is, they are speaking pure lies designed almost entirely for personal gain and enrichment. Not to say, these fake gurus turning insecurities of young men into a lucrative business, with manosphere figures like Rollo Tomassi making millions selling books, Andrew Tate making millions by selling courses on how to become rich like him, promising ways to emulate their success, financially and with women, with young and desperate lonely men willing to spend significant amounts of money in hopes of transforming themselves. This might work only for a small percentage, the top 1% of men who buy into these courses and books. For the other 99%, it's a path to failure, leading them further into depression, which they then blame on the so-called matrix. It's a vicious cycle of dependency, carefully crafted by these grifters, who profit immensely while leaving young men in an even more desperate situation.